The only reason I am where I am in terms of business and money is because of my mentors and what I've learned from others. And I want to share with you the main things that have helped me. And who better to share from than my actual mentors? And the first person I want you to hear from is my friend Dan Bagniok. I'm so sorry if I said your name wrong. And I asked him to send a video about the best advice he has for anyone who wants to start a business. So without further ado, here's Dan.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Dan Bagniak. I run a marketing agency for high-ticket coaches and consultants online. Issa reached out to me for I just decided to have 3 tips, but he reached out to me for some tips for anybody that's just getting started, wanting to get their first client. And 3 things kind of came to mind. Number 1 is to just follow up. This is so underrated for anyone that's just getting started, but if someone doesn't respond to you the first time, it doesn't mean it's a no. Just reach back out to them. People are busy. The last thing that they're going to be thinking about is what you have going for them or what you're offering them. So reach back out. If it's been a day, reach back out, ask them, hey, just bumping this up. If you're messaging them or if you're doing door-to-door stuff, knock on their door again. That's actually how I got my very first door-to-door sale. Is I came and then they're like, hey, can you, I'm just busy in the middle of something right now. Can you come back later tonight? So I did, and I got that deal. And then I've honestly gotten so much business just through follow-up. So any good salesperson is going to tell you that the money is in the follow-up. So that's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 that I would impart on someone else is just be first. Put yourself out there. Don't wait for someone else to do something or to give you permission to do stuff. Put yourself out there because you increase the chances of serendipity happening. You're increasing the chances of any opportunities that will come to you. So for me, a big step for that was actually starting my brand, getting on social media, putting myself out there, making content, and just educating other people. Because of that, I've had business owners that are making 7, 8 figures online reach out to me wanting to work with me, all because I decided to just put myself out there. I was terrified of doing it. I always had the thought of why would anyone consume my content? Why would anyone listen to me? But you'd be surprised. So put yourself out there because you're just going to create so much more luck for yourself when so many people are seeing what you're learning, what you're experiencing, and when you're actually educating them. And then the last tip, it's nothing new, but I still feel like I have to throw it in here, is just be persistent. Have faith in yourself. Sometimes people are not going to believe in you, whether it's your parents, whether it's your friends. Again, going through my entrepreneurial journey, I've ran a franchise business for house painting, exterior painting, and I've hit over $110,000 in revenue for that. I've grown a successful online business. Those 2 businesses, I've only really had one person that believed in me, and that was just my girlfriend, now fiance. So just believe in yourself because you cannot expect other people to believe in you. Put faith behind you. If you have this strong confidence deep down in your core that you're meant to do something bigger, that you're going to succeed, lean on that. Keep pushing on that. Keep bringing that up because that's what's going to get you through some of the hardest times. And then, that's naturally going to bring up persistence. Never give up. Just keep moving forward. When things get hard, that is the exact moment you got to just keep moving forward and pushing harder because you're just around the corner of a big breakthrough. So no successful entrepreneur, no successful person in the world really became successful just by reaching it for the first time or achieving it for the first time. They've gone through multiple seasons of failure to get to where they are. I've gone through multiple seasons of failure to get to where I'm at. It took me literally 5 years to get to where I'm at now, where we're in the south of France, just in the countryside. So those are my 3 tips. Use them, ingrain them. They're pretty basic, but these are the exact 3 things that just have helped me gain more clients over time. And these are the things that have just helped me, like I said, get me to where I am today. I've consulted other business owners on these exact 3 tips. I've consulted other people that are just getting started on these 3 tips, and it's worked. So take these, journal about them, write about them, remember them, and more importantly, keep moving forward, keep taking action. Don't think about it, just act, move, do. It's so much easier to pivot when you're actually moving.
I remember when me and him actually first met, it was pretty funny. So I knocked on his mother-in-law's home. We cleaned her home. We messed up, which kind of sucks. But we went back and we were going to redo it properly. And Dan was there the second time. And then I was talking with the mom. And she was like, hey, my son-in-law, he's also very into business. He's actually has a pretty successful one. he's gonna be out here in a minute too, just so you guys can chat a bit. And then we did, and yeah, we just started chatting. His advice was freaking amazing from day one, and now we're here. So his advice is freaking amazing, especially on this video. The first thing he talked about, which is following up, I remember when he told me this, I was like, honestly, let me just try it. So I went onto my messages, and every now and then when someone's like, oh, can I think about it or whatever, I'm like, sure, do you want me to just send you a quick text? Just so that way when you do have a response, you just text me back. And usually people are like, yeah. So I went through those messages and then I found one. And then the first one that I messaged, I was like, hey, I'm just bumping this up because I know you're probably pretty busy. If you want to get it done, we're free on this day. And then the guy was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And now every time I have like 10 of those messages sitting around, I always just text him like, hey, I'm bumping this up, blah, blah, blah. And every time I get like 1 to 3 sales. So that's literally one of the best things you could do. It's a very good piece of advice that he gave. So if you're not already doing that, do that. It's freaking amazing. And the next one that he talks about is just putting yourself out there. And he's so right, because if you're not out there, if people can't see you, you'll never be able to get what you want. This applies for everyone, and it applies especially when you're first starting out. You essentially need to start, otherwise you'll never live the life you want. You'll never hit the goals that you have. It's just, you need to put yourself out there. One thing that I find especially holds people back is their thoughts about what other people think about them. Or like, oh, what if people make fun of me? Like, who cares? You need to just forget about what everyone else will say and just do it. And then the last point he touches on, which is to literally just believe in yourself. It's corny, but the reason sayings like that are corny is because they've been said so many times, and things that get said so many times are usually true. And this is one thing that is true. Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to. Like, no one's going to wake up in the morning and be like, hey, I believe in you. Like, that's your job. You should be waking up like, okay, I can do it. I've done it. You need to just believe that you've already done it. You need to have so much confidence in yourself. And with this final one that he talks about, I'd honestly recommend you also go on his YouTube and watch some of his videos. So remember, like second or third time me and him we were talking, when he talks about why he's done some things or what he's done with his business and he explains why, it just clicks. So one thing I would tell you to do is watch his videos after mine. But yeah, like you could just tell that he's been through it, he's done the hard work. There's a reason why he's where he's at. So that was Dan. He especially opened my eyes when it comes to just being able to achieve whatever you want, especially when you're young. Because you can literally do anything as long as, again, you believe in yourself. Now, the next person that I wanted in the video is Nick. And if you've been watching my videos for a while, you've probably heard me talk about him a lot. Maybe not like me saying Nick, but like he was my first mentor and the first person that I ever met with genuine success, with like real success. And I know I've said this story a million times, but in my first job, my sales job, when I had to go back to school, I remember on the last day I talked to him, I was like, Nick, you're way more in the know-how of what I want to do. Is it fine if every now and then I can just hit you up and ask you for some advice? And he was like, anytime, I'm here. I'm so happy to get him on this video because just his advice is amazing. Like, he's the one that I credit for all my success in business. Like, without him, my business would be non-existent. I would have nowhere near as much money as I do now. I don't even think these videos would have been a thing if it weren't for him. So really quick, if you've been enjoying the video so far, you've gotten some value, if you could please subscribe, that would literally mean so much to me. Thank you. So here's what he recorded for us, and here's his advice.
Hey guys, my name's Nick Gilbert, a friend of Issa, and he reached out to me to see if I'd be interested in helping him out with one of his videos, and of course I was happy to help, especially when it comes around the topic of discussion, which is advice, especially how that's helped me in my business, and you know, the advice that I've been given over the years. And it's one of the best things because advice is free in most cases. And you can always utilize advice from friends, family, mentors. And it's really one of those things that can often be underutilized and can often go in one ear and out the other. But when you're given, you know, really good pieces of advice, it's always important to extract that information and what that means to you and how you can find a way to implement that into your own life. And a little bit about my backstory, I come from a sales and marketing background, and I currently run my own business and have been for the last 5 years. And what initially got me started with the pieces of advice that I was given and how I utilized those, the biggest one that stood out to me when I reflected on these things was servant-based leadership, and how that's really important, especially when you're in the line of work where you're managing other people, or you have a sales team, or you know, a window washing team. Anybody that's going to be able to rely on you for a job, servant-based leadership is really the art of never expecting something from someone you wouldn't expect from yourself. my team that I currently run, I choose to create the interpretation that I'm showing up for them. I'm creating an environment where they can succeed. I need to create an environment where if they need any sort of help for whatever reason that may be, that they can always come to me and overload me with problems or issues, because if I can solve those, that's going to help create a more successful day or week for them. Then that servant-based leadership is crucial to create that type of loyalty, that discipline, and the integrity that you need to run a successful team. Now, over the years, I've had tons of experience and mentors that have come and gone, and pieces of advice. And I think what sticks to me now when I'm currently, day to day running my office, and what most advice often sticks to me is creating a win-win scenario. And when I first started in business, it was a very selfish approach. I focused a lot on, how can I make more income? How can I get more people on my team so that I can maybe buy a new car or buy a new watch or something materialistic that didn't really come back to creating an environment to help other people win as much as I wanted to win myself. And now I focus a lot on win-win scenarios, because in my line of work, if I can find, train, and develop people to run their own sales teams, that's going to create a passive income for me. And so my focus now is, how can I get people to, focus on bettering themselves, building a better, vision, and having clarity around their goals. And it's taken a lot of interpersonal work to focus on what that looks like for me, because in order for me to be able to help other people, I need to be able to know how to help myself. And so having that selfless approach, not selfish approach, has created even better connections and relationships with people. And so, it really comes down to creating that win-win scenario. When I get to win, when I can help other people win. And so that is definitely the two biggest pieces of advice that I've been given over the years, that I choose to constantly focus on every day and remind myself of those. And I really appreciate Issa for allowing me to share a couple of those ideas, and I hope that stuck with some of you guys. And thank you so much for listening.
So there's so much gold in this video. The first thing that he starts off with was actually the first thing that he told me when I was getting into business. He was like, all right, Issa, so you're scaling this, you're getting people to work with you. Be a servant-based leader, which is essentially you need to lead from the front. You can't be one of those people who are like, oh, do this, do that. If you're working with others and they see that you're not doing the work, they're not going to want to do the work. It's especially important that you put in the work, the same exact work that you expect from others, because when someone else sees this and they're working with you, then they're a lot more happy to do the work when you're also doing it, because that also just shows that, okay, he's doing it, I can do it. Or he's doing it, why can't I do it? I've never seen a successful person make it without doing any of the work in his business. But I've seen so many people fail in business who don't do the actual work themselves, or who expect others to do it for them. And when you're more of a leader instead of a boss, you just become more selfless too, because you start taking it into account the other people, which is kind of what also happened to Nick when he was first starting out his business. He saw that he could make way more money when he can make others more money as well. When in business, you only focus on making yourself as much money, or just on yourself winning, no one else has a chance or opportunity to win with. And whenever that's the case, people will just leave and they'll go find something else where they can also win. So he said this best: focus on creating environments where others can win around you, and just be there to help them out whenever they need it. Because whenever someone else wins because of you and they get to credit you for that, it's just going to make you win so much more as well as a result of them winning too. So that's the advice that Nick and Dan gave us about, firstly, starting a business, which is what Dan talked about, and then growing and continuing in business, which is what Nick talked about. So thank you so much, Nick. Thank you so much, Dan. Like, seriously, thank you guys for helping me out with this video. I know you guys are watching. Seriously, you guys are, like, not even thank you for this video. Thank you for everything you've helped me out with, and just business as well. And if you want to comment what your favorite piece of advice from this video was about either Nick or Dan, I'll make sure to let them know about it too, because they deserve the love. They honestly, like, this is one of my favorite videos ever. I also kind of want to make this a series because there's a few others that wanted to help out with this video too. But for the first one, I wanted Nick and Dan in it because they've been the ones who've helped me out the most. So I kind of wanted them to kick this off. So one more time, if you could thank them too, I'll put their socials in the description. Actually, except for Nick. He's pretty mysterious, but yeah, that would mean a lot too. They deserve the appreciation. So yeah, thank you again for watching this video. It honestly means a lot. There's a lot more free content on issafire.com. Those are kind of more courses. They're all free. As well as you can subscribe to the newsletter to kind of get these in written form as well. So yeah, thank you again for the millionth time. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for watching as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.